This will be a quick run through of the new Pacamod certificate generator. We have been overhauling a few of the certificate routines, and so this will give you a look at the way that the new system is designed. We've pulled up the certificate program, and you'll see two tabs. The first is the page where we generate the certificates, and the second tab is a page where we can send out automatic emails with attachments to the participants in a regional or a global round. Going to the new certificates, the first thing we can do here is to see that we have three windows, one labeled rounds. You can see all the rounds from 2017 showing. They actually go back much further than that, back to 2011. The second window is the schools for each round, and let's pick a Durban round, for example, and then the schools window will show the Durban rounds, the schools from the Durban round. If you select a school, let's pick one with a little bit more in the way of population here. This is Wembley Primary School, and we see that we have some team certificates and some student certificates. Just by selecting these particular students, you see a preview of the certificate over here on the right. Now, there's a second way you can generate these, and that's by index. When you generate certificates and you have schools selected, the certificates will automatically go into the folder entitled Certs by Round, and it will show you within each round you'll see that there's a set of certificates for each participating school, and then an invitation letter for each participating school, assuming they qualified. Now, this does not make the distinction of entering of the teams by the entry, by the delegation. To get that, we switch over to school by index, and let's choose Durban again. And Durban does not have any indexes because we were not using indexes on the input routines when we imported those tournaments. But let's go ahead and go to Cape Town. And in Cape Town, we see now an index number and a contact name and a school name, and so then we have one line here for each of the entries. Okay, to generate the certificates from, for example, from Cape Town, I would go up here and I would select the Cape Town Global Round, and to select them by delegation, I would choose Delegation Combo Files and click OK, and it will then loop through all of the rounds, and you'll see the certificates going by one. Now, these have already been generated, so we should get a duplicate error here, I think, maybe at some point anyway. Yeah, there it is. This says we're getting a duplicate, and so basically what I'm going to do here is tell it to I do not want to replace the file. I want to keep the file that was already generated, and so I'll say no, and it'll actually show me generating all the files, but they will not be replacing them if there are duplicates. So at this point it will be generating about, if I let it go from here, they'll be generating one certificate for each student, one certificate for each coordinator, and one for each DAA, and then a couple of certificates for each team. So with a tournament of about 500 like Cape Town was, we would be generating here about roughly 1,000 certificates. This probably would take only probably 15 minutes or so to generate. I'm going to go ahead and pause this and either restart the certificates module and come back here, or let it go ahead and go off and have a cup of coffee and come back when it's done. I'll pause it right here to do one or the other. Alright, so I am back with you now, and I did terminate that process so it wouldn't have to run through all 1,000 certificates. That is the standard routine. Let me review what that is. To generate all of the certificates from a round, you click on the round and let it generate the schools or indexes. I'll switch over to indexes here. So for example, if I was going to do the Athens round, I would choose Athens and then choose indexes, and it will show me the indexes here. And then I can choose to do all of them by clicking on the search by round and clicking the delegation combo files, which will give them to me by delegation, clicking OK, and it will generate all of those certificates. The place the certificates go is into, if I generate them by delegation, they go into this folder, search by delegation, and they are in a configuration designed to be mass emailed. Now, for example, here are the Athens Global, and somebody's been playing with my stuff here, Patrick. So here we see all of the certificates after they've been generated by index, 1, 2, 5, 6, and so on. I don't think they had every index there. And then there is a letter of certificate here to go along with it. And these are a big file. Each file contains a whole bunch of certificates. So here's a very large one here. If I open this up, let me reduce it in size slightly here. And you can see that we get all of, as I scroll down, we see all of the certificates from that school. All the team certificates, all of the DAA certificates, and all of the individual student certificates from the Athens round for NLCS from Jeju. That's the one I just opened up to look at. Now, you can also do the same thing. I don't believe it does the emailing yet, but you can also generate this by school instead of by index. Now, sometimes in the past for regionals, we've not always implemented the delegation index number, and so in that case we didn't have them all organized by delegation. We just did those for the region, for the global rounds in Hanoi, Athens, and Cape Town, and I just got the mailing routine down ready to go for the Cape Town. That's when I actually sent them out after I got back home after the Cape Town round. Now there's some other capabilities built in here. If you do not want to do the whole round, say you want to regenerate just one school, you select the round up here, and then you can go down and select a school or whatever you like down at the bottom here. And so let's say we want to redo the Hillel schools, and to do that I would just choose search by index and choose either individual certificates, which will put them into the school search folder, or the index combo files, which will put them into the search by delegation folder. I click OK, and it will generate just the one school, or if I want to, I can do more than one school. I can select several schools here and redo several schools individually. So if I want to select two different schools, I believe, yeah, there we go, then I can click this and say whichever one I want. Okay, so that's the routines that generate the mass numbers of certificates. Now, when these are generated, it is also going to be generating the letters at the same time. Both of these two routines generate letters. There's a button down here though that says custom letter, and if I want to, I can go into one particular round, let's say Durban, and choose by school, because Durban did not have indexes, and I'll choose Durban Girls School, and that's not a good choice because they only had one student. So let me go down and check Wembley Primary. They had a fairly good sized delegation, I think. And I will choose a custom letter. And it brings it up, and it looks like they had one qualifying junior team, Team 107, and it gives the names here. Now if I wanted to just type in a little different name for one of these kids, I can do so here. And now we have a correction on the name, and we can go ahead and click OK, and it will then open up a Word document. Let me resize my Word window here and move it into the viewing window. There's my Word document, and you can then see that the corrected name is the one that shows up down here, Mickey Mouse, Chandelier, whatever these names are. So we can make edits in between the time when we say generate and when it generates the actual letter. So we can make custom certificates. And they will just show up here as a Word document, and you can type right onto the Word documents if you like. So if custom letters is this button right here, says custom letter. It'll fill out most of the letter by just having you go to the school you want to do. So Durban North College. Hopeville, I don't know which ones are big here. Mount View, is that a big one? Nope. Ridge Park, I think Ridge Park is big. Is that right? Yeah, a little bigger. Okay, we'll do a custom letter for Ridge Park. Looks like it has 4 qualifying teams, and I can edit them here in this table directly, or just, and then I can actually edit them within the Word document if I want to also. So now here's the Ridge Park letter. It says Ridge Park College there in the text, and there are the 4 qualifying teams. Now if you want to, and they want to add something on, let's go back to Ridge Park again, and let's add on a coordinator. Somebody we know. And then we'll run the certificate again, and any additions you want to make will be added on a new line at the bottom. So you can add coordinators and DAAs and AIAs and whatever you want to put on the end. They're not in the database, which they can be if they're imported properly, but if they aren't put in the database, you can add them manually here on the custom certificate generator, and they'll show up at the bottom or wherever. Okay, so that's the custom generator. There's one more thing you can do here, and that is over on the other side we can choose a specific individual student and make a custom certificate in much the same way. It'll give me all the awards here, and I can modify the awards. If there was one missing, I could say TOC qualifier, and I don't see that over here. This was not a global round, so this would never have been there, but I can actually add whatever I want. Funny looking kid, I can put that in as a special award. And so now here's the certificates ready to go with the TOC qualifier and the FLK, and this certificate is ready to be saved as a PDF and sent off to the student or to the team. So we have also one other capability. Now I can't do the team certificates on this same custom. I don't quite have that capability yet. The team certificates have lots of stuff in them. It's a little harder to edit those. I may get that done eventually. But we can also do DAAs. So let me go back to Athens. By index, I think we should have some DAAs with some of these guys. There's one, and there's a coordinator. So if I choose the coordinator, I can make a custom certificate for the coordinator here, and it will come up and let me edit the Word file. There it is. Or I can do a DAA, same way. Choose the DAA and make a custom certificate for the DAA, and I can make changes here in the Word document, or I can make changes in that little dialog right before the Word document comes up. Either one works. So we've got we have the ability to make custom letters, custom adult certificates, and custom student certificates. Eventually maybe we'll have custom team certificates here. Finally, once the documents are ready to go, what you can do then is you can fill in the top of this thing over here so you can do mass mailings. Now, this is actually set up for me at my Gmail address, which is actually not ideal. This is the SMTP username, which is the same as my email, and then there will be an SMTP password, and those are needed in order to send your emails through Gmail. We may also be able to do this through the scholarscup.org site and have them originate from contact@scholarscup.org. We would have to know the SMTP password and the SMTP port and the SMTP host. We need these 4 things in order to originate the mailings from a specific place. Then you would fill in what you want it to show as on the from line. The program will fill in the to line. It'll only be sending them to these coordinators who have given emails. And here are those emails. So if I choose New Millennium School here and I say to send the mail, here I have chosen Athens Global, and if I select all of the delegations and hit this button that says Send Mail, it will go into the search by delegation, and it will attach the files associated with each team, which are organized by the index number, and it will email those as an attachment one by one, actually kind of a slow process. For example, to send out these 197 emails, it might take a couple of hours. You do need to fill out this for everything here except the to and the subject, and you need to fill everything else out here. The attachments are attached automatically. The message will be the same for everyone, whatever you want to put there. You can put a lot of information there that I haven't put. The program will fill out the to. It'll be the email of the person here, and then the subject will be related to the school name and the round. It'll probably say something like 2017 Hanoi Global Certificates, and then the person getting them will know what's coming in. The top part up here again are this is the setup to connect this program to the email system that you're attaching to. I got it to work on my Gmail account. There were instructions on the web on how to set that up. If you're running this on a different kind of web host, there probably is an SMTP server, and you can get your login username, and password and port and host name, and you can actually connect these up and send through your own host. So if we had these sent through scholarscup.org, we could actually have them originate from contact, which would probably be the way we should do this. So that's the automatic emailing, and we showed a little bit about the new certificate generator. And finally, just a couple of notes about the folders. One more time here. In the Dropbox, currently we're using School Certs. Contains essentially what the old school folders contained. It'll contain the name of a school, and inside that it will show each of the rounds. So far I have 2017 in there. Show each of the rounds, and inside the round an individual certificate for each student and team. Alright, and if the round is a global round, here's the Athens Global Round, there will be things like certificates for the DAAs and so forth. Okay, so you'll find that these can be sent out automatically with the email, or you can send them out specifically, but these are individual certificates. So once again, the school certs contains individuals. Those are not appropriate for mass emails. Those are more appropriate for answering individual emails, which of course we're trying to phase out. We'd like to have as few students writing in to get their certificates as possible, and have as many students contacting their coaches to get their certificates as possible. It's just gotten to be, with 21,000 students in the last year, it's gotten too big to do individual correspondence with every kid that has the contest. That's just gotten to be too much, as you well know. All right, the second folder, the first folder is the school certs. When you generate the certs for mass emails, they'll be in the search by delegation. There are two others here marked search by index and search by round. The search by round I created with this program when they're organized by school. And search by index, I believe that was created by Fission, and he messed around with it, organizing some of the folders from the Hanoi round. Okay, so this one has no connection to Pacamod. Search by round is when you send the certificates out by school. Search by delegation is when you send the certificates out by index. And finally, school certs has them as individual certificates, not packaged at all. Okay, so that's a quick look at our certificate builder and our one last thing I guess I didn't show. If I wanted to show, for example, if I wanted to generate all the individual certificates for that school certificates, after I'm done creating the packaged ones, I go in and I just run it again and just say individual certificates here and let it run. I think that took to do the entire 2017, including all the uploading, took a good part of a day to run all those. It wasn't too bad. It was all automatic, so it didn't take a terribly long time, but I ended up with something over 10,000 files waiting to be uploaded because of my rather slow upload speed here in Hickman. Alright, so that's a quick run through of some of the capabilities of certificates. Please contact me if you have any questions about any of these topics, and look for another YouTube video in order to see the how to get Pacamod installed on your computer, assuming that you don't have it installed yet. Bye for now.